Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Bowtie Movie Lounge. I'm your host, Jacob Strupek. Joining me today is a good friend, Caden Cooley.
Thank you for having me, sir. Glad to be here.
An absolute pleasure. I'm glad you were able to make it.
Yes,
sir.
Sir.
And hopefully this is the first time of many that you'll be on.
Oh, many, don't worry.
Oh yeah, we'll be doing much more.
Much more.
And then have some more guests,
That's right. We'll have a little surround here. We'll have a whole bunch of mics going around, buddy.
Dude, it's going to be a nice little pad. I'm going to try to fill this table up.
That's it.
Maybe even get a bigger space just to have more people.
That's right.
Maybe even some special guests that are
Special.
a little more well-known, don't need any introduction.
That's it.
So I can't remember. What are we talking about today?
Elvis, the motion picture.
I love it.
Good movie.
Film by Baz Luhrmann.
Iconic.
So anyway, without further ado, I think that's how you say it. Without further ado, that's it.
There it is.
Put on your blue velvet shoes and sit back and relax. You got the Bowtie Movie Lounge. All right, so we're doing Elvis, which
That's
released
right.
this past year.
Yep.
This is the first time we're doing a movie that's still in theaters. Actually, I was able to
still
watch.
in theaters.
Yeah, I was able to watch it last night.
All
But
right.
you know what I'm actually really fascinated about
What's that?
is the fact that it came out. When did it come out?
Let's see. Let's
Shoot,
say
I should-
3 weeks to a month ago.
I always come up with questions that I don't think about, and that is one thing that I should really write down.
Yeah. Is not probably a month ago, I'd say. Something like that.
I feel like it's been a little longer.
May have been, yeah.
Yeah, because I do know that it actually comes out on Blu-ray and DVD.
Yeah.
Next month.
Actually pre-ordered it already.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
On Blu-ray?
Yep.
Dude, nice.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to get that on
Yeah.
4K.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be doing that. Share it with the family. Share
That's
the
it.
experience.
It's a family movie.
It is.
is.
It's really good. I actually took my sister and my brother to watch it. My sister, they're not really in touch with the Elvis music.
Mm-hmm.
She knows the basics. Can't help
Everybody
but
knows
falling in-
their little bit of Elvis, you know.
Yeah, can't help but falling in love with you.
Yeah.
She knows that, of course, and she knows all the goofy remakes of it. But
Yep.
to me, it's always Elvis.
It's Elvis.
But yeah, no, I mean, and then my brother, who's kind of harsh with film criticking.
Yeah.
He likes his action movies type thing.
Okay.
His favorite stuff is probably Transformers.
Got you. Yeah.
It's kind of like that, just because it's
Some hardcore action.
just raw action. That's all he needs, and he's
Got
he's
you.
good. But lately, he's been watching some good movies.
Yeah, I love me a biopic always.
A good biopic, which
Honestly, biopics, especially musicians, is that's one of my favorite types of movies in general. It's just
really?
Yeah, I just love the history aspect and the finding out about an artist and what because sometimes movies spice it up in
They do.
biopics, but you get the gist of what went down,
exactly.
which is great.
Well, speaking of spicing it up, the guy that brought this whole film to life is Baz Luhrmann. Wait, actually, I did write it down. It released June 24th.
June 24th.
Oh man, I'm so.
I knew it was in the near distant.
You were
past.
close. You were very, very close with
Something.
last month. It was
Something like that.
2 months ago.
Yeah.
But what I was getting to, and I kind of trailed off. Even though it released back in June, around 2 months ago,
Yep.
I still had to get seats that were the second row from the screen
Yeah.
because it was so packed.
Oh yeah, everybody was coming out.
It's insane, dude.
Yes.
It's really
that's
crazy.
That's how it was for me and Callie as well. It was the same exact way because, yeah, it was a big showing.
Dude.
Lots of people came out for it.
Because I went and saw what I thought was a late time to watch it.
Yep.
I should have watched this, a month ago or a few weeks ago, and it was still packed. I'm like, man, I had trouble getting seats.
Yeah.
I had to get one of those weird seats that was in between, just
Yeah.
that one seat that was in between two massive groups.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the same way. My Aunt Shirley, she got a early viewing
Oh, she did.
in Graceland. She got to see it, and it was a huge showing. They had I believe it may have been in a theater, but I swear Aunt Shirley was saying
Really?
that it may have been, it was outside, like in the yard of Graceland. And
How'd she do that?
well, it's a fan club.
Oh,
It's
so
a fan
she's
club.
in
She's
an Elvis fan club.
Yeah.
That's right.
She's actually the head of an Elvis fan club.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Your aunt?
Yes, Aunt Shirley. The one
Man,
I told you about with the whole room dedicated to Elvis. She
shout
loves
out
him.
to Aunt Shirley, man.
Shout out to Aunt Shirley.
Shout out to you.
Yeah.
Man, no, we probably should have gotten her on this.
Oh,
too.
that she would have been the one to get on this.
She probably would have.
Oh, she could go.
I don't know. I don't know, may have been good. The way you talk about her and how much of a fan she is, she probably would have like.
Oh, she's the
kept
one
us-
who
kept
really
us all-
influenced me
I love
as
it.
a youngin' to, because I've been to Graceland a few times and kind of strayed away from the Elvis thing. But then with this movie, it really lit the flame back,
Man,
Just as a fan and seeing that was like, it was just so cool to see. Because nothing in our lifetime has really shown Elvis never lost his credit.
Right.
But, just with this
but
movie.
he kind of declined as the generations
Yes,
grew.
for sure. And now
this did exactly what a lot of biopics do, is kind of reignite
that's it.
that burning love.
And the burning love, baby. You got it.
We're gonna be doing that throughout.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, dude, no, I love it. The film directed by Baz Luhrmann. The film stars Austin Butler as Elvis Presley.
That's it. Did a great job.
Fantastic.
Killer job.
We're gonna have that big time for the notable acting performances.
Oh, yes.
But opposite of him and alongside at the same time was Tom Hanks
That's right.
as Colonel Tom Parker.
Played the trickster.
The trickster.
Very well.
He played the snowman.
Snowman.
The snowman. But this movie had an $85 million budget.
Wow.
And by the time that I made these notes, it's probably much higher now.
I was thinking that seems fairly low.
Yeah, that does seem fairly low, honestly, for a movie as extravagant as this.
Exactly.
I guess films are just much cheaper to make in Australia.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, at the time that I wrote this, it made $31 million on the opening weekend.
Oh, Lord. Wow.
And then $189 million worldwide to date. So that last number probably has climbed.
Oh, definitely.
So it's at least like more than doubled.
It's up there.
Because at the time it like more than doubled its budget.
Oh, yeah.
So, but seeing how it filled up theaters, it's probably tripled at
big
least.
time. It was a hit. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
It's insane.
It was, yes.
So, how about a personal thought? What did you think about the movie overall? Without a numerical rating, was it a good movie? Was it a amazing movie? Was it a masterpiece to you? What did you think?
Me, you may get different answer from other people, but me being the Elvis fan that I was and now, still am,
Right.
as it's been reignited, I thought it was an absolute masterpiece.
An absolute masterpiece.
I thought it was iconic the way it happened, the way they did it, and much different style, especially in terms of biopic.
You're very right about that.
It was a
actually.
much different perspective because usually, you get your perspective from you. Well, usually it's not another person like it was Colonel.
Right.
How
Yeah.
he
True.
was more, narrating a lot of it, and you don't get that perspective a lot of times.
No, you're very right about that. Actually, it's usually kind of like from the perspective of the peers. Say Bohemian Rhapsody.
Mm-hmm.
All that was based off of his friends and his closest friends,
Exactly.
his bandmates. Mainly. It was kind of like that introspective from them.
Yes.
And then I guess Rocket Man. That was Elton John was able
that
to
was
have.
interesting. Yeah.
That one was interesting, and I do have some things to say about the comparison about all of them. But yeah, Rocket Man, that one, Elton John himself was able to put his input on that because
That's right.
he's still alive, of course.
Exactly, and that's a difference there with within the Elvis movie and then
Right.
Johnny Cash's movie.
Right,
Ray
Walk the Line.
Charles.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, Ray Charles was alive when they filmed his movie in the very.
Yeah, when did he die, actually?
He died in, I think 2004.
Okay.
I believe.
Yeah, I know. Jamie
He
Foxx did that.
he killed that. He passed shortly after that movie.
Yeah, I think Johnny Cash died right before they did Walk the Line.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I remember Joaquin Phoenix had said he had met Johnny Cash.
Yeah,
While
which is
he was
insane.
doing the casting and
right,
everything was going down.
which is insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I have some opening questions. So one that I had is you said that your favorite films are biopics.
I do love biopics.
So what's like your favorite one? And if it's Elvis, what are like the next two in order?
Now it is Elvis.
Now it's Elvis.
It's definitely Elvis now.
What was the king
Before-
at first?
The king before was Ray.
Ray.
I really liked Ray.
So you may be disappointed, but that's the only biopic that we've named that I have not seen.
Really?
Yeah.
You've got to watch Ray.
Why don't we come back and do it on the pod?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, man.
It's it's just more of the the blues aspect as well of it.
Right.
I really like that, and I already was a fan of Ray Charles's music. And,
Yeah, same.
Went forever without really watching it and even knowing about it, but then I seen it. I was like, yeah, let me see that, and it was perfect. It was great. And then I'd say, okay, so Elvis, Ray, and Johnny Cash, Walk the Line.
Walk the Line. That I would say is probably like mine after.
How Joaquin Phoenix did not get an award for that, I don't know.
I don't know.
No
He was
comment.
cheated? No comment. Yeah.
But-
I guess I already made a comment, but
we made a comment.
we made a comment.
But we're not gonna make any more.
Not anymore. We'll,
Should have gotten an award.
we love Joaquin Phoenix. We love that man.
And how he, just like Austin Butler did, how he was able to sing some
Yeah,
songs,
exactly.
and actually were put in the film.
Right. And actually, I think Austin Butler sang most of them. There were some that he didn't. Whereas Joaquin Phoenix
Yes.
as Johnny Cash pretty much did all of them.
Yeah.
So, which is pretty incredible.
Yep. You could. There was Trouble. That's the one that Austin Butler actually released, and it was under the soundtrack. But I was listening to that song in the car with Callie,
Uh-huh.
and the whole time I'm thinking it's Elvis.
Yeah.
Thought it was Elvis.
He disappeared he
And I
dissolved
looked
into
at the
Elvis.
screen, Austin Butler.
That's
So it's-
crazy, dude.
He killed it.
He did.
He
We'll
fit the role.
definitely be talking more about that. But another opening question I have is, what's your favorite Elvis song?
Let's see.
Kind of bombarded you with it.
No, let's see. If I Can Dream. That has a.
Dude.
That's one of my favorites. There's many others. That has just a huge meaning behind it, and that is
Yeah.
also, I believe. Don't quote me. Pretty sure that's an original from Elvis.
I know he didn't write it.
He didn't write that song.
Right.
Okay. Well,
So, yeah, I forget. Man,
in the movie, they
didn't write
kind of
that down.
depicted it that way.
Yeah, well, they did depict it, but Steve Bender, the guy, the guy that pretty much brought him on, gave him his own show and stuff.
Oh, Billy. That guy,
Billy
from Stranger Things.
Billy from Stranger Things,
Gotcha.
who was Dr. Montgomery. He actually got the real guy, Steve Bender, got another songwriter
Wow.
to do it, and then Elvis was like, I don't know. It sounds too. What do you say? He sounds too Broadway, and they don't need that right now. But then he listened to like 7 or 8 times. We're like, I'm doing it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
He was a master of. Elvis was a master of, and unique in that way of putting his own twist on certain songs.
mm-hmm.
And he was known, and he got a lot of hate from it. With redoing other songs, but the one thing about it was he had his unique twist on it.
He did.
It wasn't like some average Joe going and doing the song.
Exactly. But he also always credited people that he did, because he does a lot of Willie Nelson music.
Yeah.
But he also credited this is by Willie, and then also he would do ones and he would do his own twist. I listened to him watched a performance last night where he did he kind of brought Get Back from the Beatles into one of his songs.
Yeah.
And then he did great. I loved it.
Oh yeah, I think I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about. now.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I need to go back and watch that.
Suspicious Minds.
Suspicious Minds. That's
a great
true.
one. That's the track that they when he breaks it down, to the slow part of it. That's the one they had running in the background.
Yeah.
Of the that song, that's in the running also for
your favorite.
For my favorite. That's also a good one.
So yeah. So I don't know, but my favorite, I would want to say, is a lesser known called "Funny How Time Slips Away." Have you heard that one? My friend just was like, dude, my uncle, actually Gabe, who is like,
I bet if I
usually
heard
on the-
that song.
it's I want to say it's a Willie Nelson cover. It's more known by Willie Nelson, but
Okay.
I like Elvis's version better, honestly.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's put twist on songs where
Yeah.
it'll make you think about the original artist, and you're like, he's putting a competition, a little fight up for that one. 'Cause
Right. No,
he's done some masters of them.
exactly. He really has. And then, but no, that's when he kind of did it, as before he passed, I believe.
Yeah.
I need to look up like when exactly he recorded it. But no, that's a really good one. You should definitely check it out.
The main thing with Elvis is I think he just viewed doing what he did more as fun and
Right.
play more than anything. That's why, he never really, he really didn't care much whether if he was doing, somebody's song or an original. He just went out there and had fun.
Exactly. He just
all
wanted to
he was
make
doing.
music.
Exactly. He wanted to make sounds.
That's all he was wanting to do.
That's it.
But yeah, probably my last question here. That way we can actually get into the discussion. Have you seen any other of Baz Luhrmann's movies?
What else has he done?
So he's done Moulin Rouge, which I have not seen. That's another kind of,
seen
I
that
believe that's it's got Ewan McGregor. I forget who the lead actress is. I want to say Kate Winslet, but don't quote me on that. I think I'm wrong. But yeah, that one apparently was good. The other one that everyone really knows is The Great Gatsby.
Oh, I've seen that.
What did you think of that one?
That one was good. We watched that actually my sophomore year of high school. We watched that. We read the book.
For English?
Yes, we read the book and then watched the movie. And for me, I am fascinated. Once you read something and you picked it in your head of what it might be.
You want to watch like a movie,
Yeah.
like a film.
And then it's really
film
cool
adaptation
to
of it.
see, what it is, how it was filmed. And then Leonardo and
Tobey Maguire.
Maguire, that was great with them.
Dude, they were
They were
amazing.
good in that.
I didn't care for the movie because because it's been so long since I didn't even finish the book. I just read a few pages basically because I got so confused. It was on my own time.
It's a lot. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, the movie was just like really confusing to me. But then like once I got it, I was kind of like,
The book,
so this is what's happening.
yeah, the book was very, reading it at least, and not really reading it. I read a little bit.
Right.
Me, sophomore in high school.
You kind of brush past it a
but-
bit.
But the movie really broke down a lot.
Yeah, which probably don't need to. I feel like I've heard that movie is pretty close to the book. I've heard that's much closer than the original with Robert Redford. But
the original movie.
yeah, there's a movie before this one,
Oh,
back
wow.
from the 70s or 80s with Robert Redford. Yeah,
There's a who's in it? It's the Elvis movie, the biopic they made in I think it was the 80s.
oh really?
Yeah, he's a huge actor. You would know who he is. Is it Kurt Russell?
Probably Kurt Russell.
I believe it is Kurt Russell. He did. There was another biopic done, and he is a huge. You would know him. I'm pretty sure it's Kurt Russell.
Okay, I'll have to
yeah.
look that up.
I haven't watched it, but I've seen the trailer for it. And,
Yeah,
it was 80s for that time.
it was
Good. Nothing compared to the one now,
that yeah.
for sure.
So yeah, I mean, I guess the reason that I was asking if you've seen the other Baz Luhrmann movies is because this one, I was kind of nervous going in. I was like, please, don't be too weird. I hope it more respects the legacy of.
It does. Now
that it
I
does.
think about it, it does have that kind of, especially in the beginning.
Yeah,
That weird
just very
style of directing.
centric,
Similar. It was similar. Now that I think about it, to
Yeah.
The Great Gatsby in the way it
You
was.
can see the directorial creativity
Exactly.
and like his own flair.
His fingerprint.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good way to word it.
Exactly.
And so like, but honestly, I wasn't disappointed.
Not at all.
You know, I was scared for it to be like that, but then I feel like it was executed pretty well.
Oh, he met and went past the expectations
Right.
from me, because I expected, just similar to the other biopics,
Right.
that have been made about great artists, and it wasn't that way.
Yeah, exactly.
It was put in a different style.
Yeah, I guess I just need to rewatch The Great Gatsby because I was scared.
It did give me those vibes.
Yeah, but
Now that I think about
you
it.
know, like in The Great Gatsby, it's kind of like, all right, why is a Kanye West song playing right now when it takes place in the Roaring '20s?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is weird, and then like everything's very CGI.
Yeah.
Whereas
He modernizes the films.
he
a little
does, and it does that a lot. Like Doja Cat comes on at some
Yeah.
point in this Elvis movie, and like I was like, okay, this is odd, but I kind of like it.
Yeah. Me, personally, on the music aspect of Elvis, I was kind of, the Doja Cat song, that one was actually a pretty cool
Right.
thing what they did there.
Right.
But there was a few others that, like In the Ghetto, they did a remix of
Yeah.
that was god awful, if you ask me.
Yeah. When like in the end credits.
Yeah, that was like, I don't think Elvis would have. Well, obviously Elvis would have appreciated the entire thing, the
Right.
entirety, and you've got to modernize it in a way, and that's also what made it, unique and different, because biopics usually don't do that.
Yeah.
It's simply, the
Just like
artist.
here's what happens.
Yes.
One thing that like to touch on that. So I guess like this is where we basically go into the discussion for the whole thing. We left those first kind of subcategories, but one thing I asked my brother last night what he thought about it. He brought up Walk the Line. He was like, I like how that one, it was just straightforward, nothing weird.
Yes.
Then I was thinking like, yeah, that one, but it's also gritty and it's not afraid to show like the drug abuse that Johnny Cash suffered.
That's
and
right.
I guess the infidelity, and it didn't shy away from that, but it was gritty and it was pretty straightforward.
Very, yes.
But also, this movie kind of does it in a way. It kind of romanticizes, I guess the blinginess. I'm trying to think of, the proper word for it, but the eccentricness of Elvis's life and his lifestyle.
Oh yeah.
And just kind of like how he was, because he was very, just very lavish and
Yes.
extravagant.
Definitely.
And that was part of the film, was to do that. And I just, I appreciated that actually.
Oh,
And
yeah.
like how fast paced, the movie is
yes.
paced very, very fast.
Just like Elvis was. Yes.
Exactly. And that's basically what killed him.
Yeah. Yes.
And it all slows down when he dies.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it. Or whenever he's having a dark time and has to slow down.
Yep.
And then right back into it.
That was the insight that I took from it that I actually didn't know about. Was, all these years I really didn't know the true story to Elvis, on what actually happened. But then, people say, oh, the eating disorder killed him. Whatever the original thing I had heard before I had watched it, all went out the window, because after seeing that, all the dots connected.
Yeah.
As in, the uppers and downers he took, which is prone to leading to heart problems, which he had many times before and been hospitalized before he even passed.
Right. And it all, like everything, like you said, his lifestyle contributed to all of it.
That's right.
So it was his lifestyle, and, fast forward to the end, what Tom Parker says is like, some say it was the drugs or his heart that killed him, but in the end it was his love for you, is what he always said,
It was that, and, I'd watched also many other documentaries on that with his family, his friends that were on this, and they were all saying, basically, he just, one, you couldn't tell him nothing.
Right.
And he wanted to please his fans. He wanted to continue going. And, you know, what his doctor would do, this is what I had seen, and also in the movie, it shows basically to get sleep, after he would leave a show, they would hit him with some
Sleep medicine.
Sleeping, which, you know, everybody knows, mixing that in your heart, they just don't go
Yes,
good.
not good.
And then the uppers to get on stage again. Just think about that, you know, what was he doing? Was he doing a show every night?
Pretty much.
2 shows, some in one day he would do 2 shows.
Yeah.
And for 5 years straight, I mean,
That's got to take a toll on you.
And, you know, you can see it firsthand with just how his physical appearance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can watch it.
Yeah.
It like him just gaining weight, like
in such a short amount of time.
Right, exponentially in a short amount of time.
I think it was within, because, you know, the first, I think, 3 years of his tour, you know, he was a skinny guy,
mm-hmm.
you know, and then literally within 2 to 3 years or something like that,
he looked completely different.
And it was so sad to see that. That was the part where I was like, that is so sad, because you don't realize just how quick he had gained all that weight and how quickly he becomes so unhealthy.
Right, exactly. Just the whole, you know, just everything he was doing, he wasn't, you know, he had his eating disorder and not getting enough sleep, not having time for himself to keep up with himself and take care of himself.
Yep. And he would basically, you know, he'd you know, get on the plane and
fall asleep,
hit him with that sleep medication, and it was so sad to see that.
Yeah,
I hated to see that, but you know, it gave you the reality of how the industry at that time, or not even the industry, more Colonel.
Right. It was more him.
Yeah, he's, you know, because there were times where he would just be completely exhausted. Elvis would. And in the show, it shows, you know, when he dumps his head into the ice, you know, he says the only thing that matters is getting him on stage. And that's, you know, that shows you right there the kind of guy he was.
Yeah, and then that lady was like, you know, if I was his mom, you know, if this was my boy, I'd put him in a hospital and turn to his dad. And even his dad was like, you know, what can we do to get him on stage?
Yeah. And the thing was, you know, Elvis's family and even Elvis himself, you know, coming from the upbringings they were at and how they were, you know, very poor coming up, you know, they were just so hungry to
keep themselves afloat financially.
Because it's like, you know, they never want to go back to that again, and it's kind of you know, that's in the back of their mind. They're, you know, they're just so worried about that aspect as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
exactly. You know, it's sad to watch. And
it is, but it was good to.
It gives you a respect for everything that he did to perform and to songwrite. Because I was watching videos last night, you know, of like live performances. I wanted to go back and see like just how true Austin Butler was to the character.
Oh yeah,
we'll get into that.
Yeah.
We definitely will. Don't worry, bud. We'll get into that. But I wanted to watch like live Elvis.
Yeah.
And you know, like the scene where he's kissing all the women. That was the one that really caught my attention. Is he actually like went into the crowd, and it showed that he cared. He actually cared for his fans.
What other artist did that?
I actually don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
I thought you were asking me like,
that's the thing. Like, there is no other artist that did that. That's
that like showed like actually like, you know, I'm sure other artists like love their fans, but like no other artist showed their love like he did. You know,
and he was just a funny guy too. His humor was
that's another thing I noticed.
That's how you know that that's another reason why I say that he never took it serious at all.
Right.
He was having fun. The guy would be up there making noises in the mic and just being silly the whole time. And it was just the type of entertainer that he was. The way he did it.
And that's what he was. He was an entertainer and knew what the people wanted and knew what they needed. You know, I like the part where, like, you know, he kept, like, guys, when he was kissing all the women, guys would have be like, of course, like, hold on, I want to go shake his hand.
Yeah.
And he'd shake their hand. There'd be one guy or two where he'd pretend like, oh, I'm going to kiss you. And they're like, oh wait. I love
that. I was actually just fixing to say that.
I love when he does that.
Hilarious.
And some part in, like, the live footage, you're like, don't worry about it. I'm coming up there in a bit. Don't worry about it. I'm coming out.
And while he's singing, he's saying stuff. What are
and
you looking at back there? It's just.
Yeah. I did see that same one.
He's just always interacting with everyone, always,
and just changing things up, keeping things loose, and even when he was like, all right, Billy, you're gonna have to choose, man. Either you're gonna hold my Coke or you're gonna hold the mic. At first it sounds like he's kind of like belittling the guy, but then he's looking at him like, I'm just messing with you, man. I'm just messing with you.
Yeah.
And like he looks at the crowd and just like he's like, I love Billy.
Oh yeah.
And then it showed that he cared for everyone around him.
He did.
And that's what the movie showed, that he cared for everyone around him, and his first thing was his mom and then his family, and like he was worried about what things would happen to his dad,
And that's all he wanted to do, was just to take care of everyone.
Exactly.
That's
and
all he wanted to do.
He actually cared about
and his cousins, because he had a bunch of cousins that in one of the documentaries I watched, they were just, and you see it in the movie, doesn't really specifically say anything.
That they were his cousins, like all the guys playing with his stuff?
Yeah, like all the toys and the little go-karts that he got, like he would just spoil everyone,
Right.
Just because he wanted everyone to enjoy what was happening.
Right, and it didn't show that he was all loving, he was still human. He still had moments where he would get angry,
Exactly.
And that, that's also an important aspect to show, like, look, as much as we're glamorizing everything, we also have to show that
the reality.
He would get fed up sometimes, and he was also human, but also like looking him up, like he still cared for the colonel as much as he fought with him. He still trusted him and loved him.
Yes.
No matter how much the colonel screwed him over.
Manipulation.
Exactly.
One thing about Elvis, he was manipulated very easy.
Mm-hmm.
So the things that I've seen, at least, especially 50% of his income going to the colonel.
Yes.
And that shows you how hungry he was.
Yeah.
He was so hungry for everything.
Yeah, why don't we talk about the colonel now? Like, I watched some small interview clips with Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
And even Tom Hanks was like, look, I did not like this guy. He was terrible. He was horrible. He did his research on him, and it's like, look, this guy is not a good man.
Nope. He, and the whole time, Elvis didn't even know his name.
Yeah, didn't know his full name. Yeah, I should have. Yeah, no, he was not Colonel Tom Parker. He wasn't even a colonel like when he was in the Army. He was discharged.
In the scene where Elvis fired him on stage, that was a little spiced up in the movie.
Yeah,
it went. There was something to do with the owner of the casino,
the hotel, the guy that I think founded the Hilton hotel brand.
Yeah,
Baron Hilton, and he made some rules, like any sort of employees cannot interact with the talent that are playing at the shows.
Gotcha.
But this also brings back to how much Elvis, cared for people.
Exactly.
Because there was I forget what his role was at the hotel, but he was like a concierge or something like that, and he and Elvis hit it off. And his wife was dying of cancer.
That's right. Yes.
And Elvis was like, I'm coming to visit. I want to come have dinner with y'all. And the owner of the hotel was like, not cool with that, so he fired him. So that's where Elvis actually yelled and called out the owner on stage.
Exactly, and that shows you right there just the kind of person Elvis was.
Yeah, he didn't care who you were. He still cared for you.
The thing is Elvis, he had went and, I guess, told him about what he thought of that.
Mm-hmm.
And the colonel wasn't happy.
Nope.
So, what ended up happening was after the show, he, like it showed in the movie, he had fired him on stage. Well, after the show, right after,
he actually fired him.
They had got into a screaming match, and he had, let him go.
Yeah, and then Tom Parker, of course, whatever his name was, it was a Dutch name. He was Dutch.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't even know his real name.
yeah, I forget. It was really weird. I didn't
Yeah.
even want to bother like trying to
He
pronounce
fooled us too. Yeah.
Yeah, he fooled everyone.
He fooled everyone.
Because that
Yeah.
came out in like 81,
Yeah.
like everything after Elvis died in 77. But yeah, no, he, like you said, he didn't actually call out him on stage, but then of course Tom Parker was at the same time like, all right, fine, I quit.
Yep.
But then comes back, to bite Elvis.
Yeah.
He couldn't actually, drop him because what Tom Parker did is exactly what the movie depicted.
Exactly.
He went up and started writing up a whole note on like how much was owed to him.
And the thing is, I feel like I don't know how the real situation actually went down, but I feel like if maybe that would have went to court or, a lawyer was behind Elvis with that would not have flown.
No,
I
I
feel
don't
like
think
it
so.
would not have. But I don't know how they really went
Yeah,
about it.
I feel like, the
and
whole
that's
thing.
that's the other aspect of Tom Parker manipulating Elvis to thinking that
He can't live without him.
that he had, when in fact I guarantee more than likely Elvis would probably not have had to owe him anything.
Right, that's kind of what I felt like too.
Yeah.
I feel like if there actually was like an because that's what they did. They launched an investigation into the lawsuits.
Yep.
And what it was is, it was all, I feel like in the end, I should have looked more into the lawsuits themselves, which I didn't. Which I should definitely pay more attention when we're doing a biopic that's an actual based off of true events like this.
Yes.
I didn't look into the lawsuits, but I personally feel like Elvis didn't really owe him that much. But I did see where it was written up that he owed him somewhere between $2 and $10 million.
Yeah. It was in the movie at least it showed 8 million, but
Yeah, like almost $9 million.
yeah, something like that. And yeah, I just don't think it would have flown, if it actually. But the thing was, he was so manipulating
And so reliant on the Colonel.
He had made Elvis think that it would have actually went down that way, when in fact, probably wouldn't have. But that's that's just and Elvis, he never wanted to fool with any type of business, anything like that. He wanted to strictly entertain, and that was it.
Right.
Because he had no.
He didn't care about the business aspect.
He didn't care about it. So that's why he was literally wanted to have nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
And, and in that aspect, sometimes you can become ignorant of things.
Right.
And that's how Elvis was,
Right.
Great entertainer. But on the business aspect of things,
He just didn't care. He didn't pay
care, and
attention.
he didn't really, didn't really want to engage in anything like that.
Well, he had his dad who seems like wasn't a good business manager.
Was not. And that's the other thing, coming from, especially in that time, with, the little education and the poor upbringing he was brought, and the same for his dad, same way.
Mm-hmm.
So they were both in the same boat pretty much.
Right.
And his dad had never done anything like that before.
No, he didn't. No, it's sad to see such a good man surround himself with such bad people.
Exactly.
That's just what this movie shows.
Yeah.
And
he had his fair share, his family definitely, mainly his cousins that I seen was more on the, like, hey, you need to do something.
Yeah, no, like
But you couldn't tell Elvis, much of anything,
Right, exactly, and that's where it was shown exactly like where I thought it was his friend. I didn't realize it was his cousin.
Well, it may have been. He had
may
a
have
group,
been
he had a group of
friends.
friends and cousins.
Just whoever he was still trying to tell him like, look, you're kind of embarrassed. It seems like you're embarrassing yourself.
Yeah.
He's like, you don't worry about that. I'm here I'm supplying for everybody.
Yeah.
Just he was. That's where it goes to show like he couldn't be told what to do.
Yeah, because he was Elvis.
Exactly. He was Elvis.
He was Elvis.
He was Elvis.
And that's the problem. That was the part with his people. They couldn't argue with him on that.
Exactly.
And because he was, at the end of the day, he was responsible for everything that they were getting.
Because in real life, his wife, Priscilla, she couldn't even like ask him to go to rehab.
Yep.
Because he would just laugh it off, and then she like didn't fight him on it because
That's right.
she goes, apparently, she goes to say, like, if you knew Elvis, you could not get him to check into a rehab because he'd laugh it off and say, like, what about my fans? I can't be in a rehab facility.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. And that was his, his pride getting in the way of that. But,
Yeah.
He was a rock star.
He was.
He was a rock star. That was it.
He was. But yeah, no, I have some things like that I just felt about the movie. I enjoy talking about like Elvis, the comparisons. But no, I like we said before about this movie, is that it was just energetic.
It was.
Like high octane, like from the get go.
Oh yeah.
Just full of like, just you kind of like, okay, what's happening? This guy's dying. Elvis is already looking bad.
Yeah.
It's already showing like the end of the movie a little bit, and then like why are all these looking like hallucinations and stuff?
Yeah.
Has
Wait,
that,
in which
like,
part?
The very beginning.
Okay.
It like if it flashes forward to like the end when he's being dunked in, and
I got you.
he's already doing bad, and
that's when
like,
Colonel is speaking, and he's like,
some say I could.
Yes.
I can't even do his accent.
I got you. Dude, that me and my girlfriend were talking about that. We still laugh about it. It's like, that was the fakest weird. Like, what was
so
that?
weird. We'll definitely talk about that in noble acting, because I have very mixed things to say about Tom Hanks's portrayal of Colonel Tom Parker. I have very mixed things.
I watched the film on actually the real guy, Parker.
Mm-hmm.
And he had it. Like, he
did.
was down, but that was like,
it was still like,
it was
a touch of campy.
Yeah.
We'll get into that late in the later category.
Gotcha.
But no, like one thing I liked about the movie is it showed, like we talked a little bit about before, is it showed different sides of it, like the music and how Elvis saw it. Like, he, like I wrote down, like he saw, like, say in the beginning when he's peeking through, into that little lounge as a little kid. Yeah, he's peeking through, and like it shows like that music is sexy to him. It's almost forbidden.
Yeah.
He's not allowed into that room, but like it's like he has like a longing for it, and to singing, you can see it in his eyes. And then like he goes to the revival, and like it's
that's personally one of my favorite scenes there.
It's an interesting scene.
That was so cool.
It's like, why is this little prepubescent kid having an orgasm to music? Like that's how I looked at it.
Blood, yeah.
Yeah, but like at the same time, you're like, I kind of get, and that's what it meant to him, and
exactly.
That's when he's about to get on stage, and he's using it to kind of ease him. He's about to sing, but he's also using music to bring down his anxiety.
Yeah.
And his nerves, and like I don't know, it's
calmed
just
him.
It was an escape for him as well, along with being sexy to him and forbidden.
And that's the same way for many other artists. The same way. That's what a lot of them say is, it's just
right,
something. It's just a way out, pretty much. And that's how I think he viewed it as well.
And that's just how I feel like he. That's how I perceived the movie. It just had all these little analogies, just kind of showed how he felt, and and how when he's walking on Beale Street, he's still singing. Even though he's older, he's singing. He's like, I want to get there one day.
Yeah,
I want to be able to harness what they have.
Exactly.
I want to take what they do and stuff, and just I want to share it.
Exactly.
Something he wants to give out free.
And if you ask me personally, and it's sad to say this, but to the times that was during that time, with the segregation and especially the culture and the type of music he made, which was the blues, which
you can't go wrong with.
Can't go wrong with it. But he really assisted just putting it on the map.
Yeah, and that's what he did. He was a pioneer.
It would have definitely blew up with change in time, but it blew up so much faster than I think that it would have without Elvis.
And that's kind of what they talk about in the end.
Which is sad to say that, because it should not be that way. Right. The blues should be no matter the color of your skin, should be, but the problem was it was not that way.
It was a different time back then.
And however you look at it, a lot of people dislike Elvis for, doing what he did. But if you look at it from another perspective, he also endorsed the blues.
Yeah, he did.
And he, they do, the king of rock and roll, he did have his own style.
He did.
It was blues originated.
Yeah, no, well, that's the thing that the movie also talks about is that rock and roll was founded off of African American culture and the blues, and it was founded by that and the tempo that they had. And he talked about it was rock and roll was also rooted in gospel.
Yes,
which weird to think about.
It all intertwines. Yes.
Yeah, and like kind of the energetic vibes that you get from the beginning, that's kind of what it depicted, is that the energy that you get from gospel is the same energy that you get from rock and roll.
Oh yeah, very high energy. It is because during that time, just like it showed in the movie, before Elvis, really in the white culture especially, it was get up on stage, be very calm, no movements.
Right.
Just
with,
plain Jane.
Hank Snow, something like that.
Yeah, and that's just the majority of, the white culture when it come to music at the time.
Yeah.
But, Elvis just threw some spice in there, man. He did.
And it's still like that today too. Like, you notice it's not, a lot of like more white music. It's like today is more of a mixing pot.
Oh, now
you're getting like all these different cultures. Everyone's listening to stuff from all over the world. Like I know, like at least 10 years ago, I would not expect people to be listening to Korean pop.
Yeah, and it's just that the more music grows, that it will affect. Surprisingly, it will though. Like the sound of any new music, anything like that, will affect the next artist that say listens to that music and then goes and creates that music, which is his or her own rendition of whatever,
right?
Whatever it is.
Yeah,
that's the thing with music. It's purely unique, depending on the person.
Yeah,
it always will be, and that's how it's always going to be.
It's always a different spice, like you were saying. Like I do like listening to remakes of classics that someone else does. Someone puts more of a cultural flair on something. Whether it's cultural or personal. Just like Jimi Hendrix always did.
Oh yeah.
I know you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
Mr. Jimmy.
Mr. Jimmy.
Baba hey. Yeah.
He let's see, what I feel like he did something Elvis. I'm trying to think of.
Elvis did do a Voodoo Child.
That's right, he did.
And that was actually pretty cool. I thought about it the other day. I was like, Elvis has done all these artists. I'm wondering if he had done a Voodoo Child. And sure enough, he did.
Yeah, I think you actually introduced me to that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to go back and listen to that one.
Yeah, you should check that one out. It doesn't even it doesn't even sound like Elvis, because I think that's another one that he was just, I like that song.
Right.
Let me just try it. And it was really cool especially how his band, what they did with it, with the music itself.
Right.
They did their own twist on that. And then he's got his choir.
Yeah.
Which, Jimmy's band, Jimi Hendrix, is a 3-man band.
Didn't really have the same effect.
So now, Elvis.
Whereas it's different.
Yeah. He's done that, and he's put his own twist on that, a big twist, that's a cool one.
No, it is.
That was a cool song he did.
I remember really liking it. I just need to go back and listen to it.
And that's one that not many people really, because, not many, I didn't even know about it. As an Elvis fan, I didn't even know that he had done a Jimi Hendrix remake. And I'm sure he's probably done many other artists that I don't even know of.
Right. We just, he has so much music. I need to go back and really dig in.
He has a lot.
I like listening to a lot of his music.
I would like to know some of the real deal originals that he may have.
Yeah. Some that he wrote.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
I know he's got.
I need to go back and maybe Blue Christmas, because I don't know of anyone else that did that.
Definitely, there's a bunch of them, and then there are plenty of songs that he also did that, before he had done them, nobody even knew of him.
Right, because Willie Nelson got his start by he didn't sing, at first. He got his start by songwriting for Elvis.
Many songs today that are they're newer songs even, and he's a huge writer.
Yeah,
still to this day in many other genres too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it bleeds into everything. It's a full circle.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. We'll try to go to the categories real soon. But yeah, no, I mean, like, one thing I noticed that was fun. I just wrote this down because I'm a big fan of Tarantino.
Yep.
And I really actually like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, that's a good one, yeah.
I really like it. And one thing that I thought was clever, and I didn't know who Austin Butler really was until I looked it up. I was like, oh, wait, that's where I've seen him. Do you know who he plays in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Oh, he was in that?
I'll give you a hint. Sharon Tate comes up at some point in Elvis. And then he played Rex. No, Tex.
I need to watch it. I need to watch it again. But now that you say that, I am going to watch
accidentally did a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood quote. He's like, it was something stupid like Rex. He's like, shoot him, Tex.
Okay.
He's like, that's it, Tex. The guy that's like, I'm the devil.
Yeah.
That's Austin Butler.
Okay.
The guy in real life who kills Sharon Tate.
Okay. He was in some Disney stuff.
That's right. He was.
Oh my gosh. My dad told me on the phone yesterday what he was in. Oh my gosh. It was some Disney flick, and he was also in some other show. He was in some big stuff.
Yeah, I just really mainly recognized him from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I didn't even know he was in that one. So that's another one that he's in. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I just I thought we'll get into like how he did, because I really want to devote time to his impersonation.
Oh yes.
Of Elvis, and like how much time he put in, because like he put in so much. So I wanted to save that. But yeah, it's like, I mean, anything else like about the story and how you felt about this really brought out the life of Elvis and the eccentric, energetic aspect of his life and how it did, and how Baz Luhrmann was able to, bring this to a film, and really the period, it like captured all the periods of his life really well.
Yep.
I feel like, the costume designs and the cinematography was really good, and had that Baz Luhrmann feel.
Yes.
And really worked for Elvis.
Yeah.
And just how he was really able to just bring it to a film.
Yeah. And it's, the best it's ever been done.
Yeah.
Like I said, there was Kurt Russell. There was that film that was done, and then there were also many others that were done, not big name films, but it was it,
Yeah.
That was it. He put an exclamation point on it.
He really did. Sure. He kind of sealed the deal for it.
Yeah, there is not going to be any other, nothing like that, at least,
For a long time. If anyone really wants to bring back Elvis.
Exactly.
Which could be interesting. I wonder do you have any thoughts on like what other autobiographies might come up? Like, it would be interesting to see.
Let's think some that
Frank Sinatra, I don't think should really. I was thinking today maybe David Bowie.
Oh, that'd be good.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I would like to see. I kind of go based off of the music that I like.
Yeah.
And I would like to see a
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Well, that would be really cool. That would be actually like really cool. They did one of Jimi Hendrix.
Really?
Yeah, Andre 3000 plays his role.
Huh.
Yeah, you'll have to. I still haven't seen that, but I want to check that one out.
Yeah, because they have like Motley Crue, which I did not see the Dirt.
That's what I was saying. I want to see another really good band auto.
Yeah, like more of a band. I want to see a band one.
Like Led Zeppelin.
I would love that.
That would be really
cool. If anyone is thinking about doing a Led Zeppelin, I feel like I can do a pretty decent Robert Plant impersonation.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like Greta Van Fleet.
Yeah.
I feel like I can do a pretty decent Robert Plant. One impersonation that I really like, I feel like I'm able to do is Tiny Tim.
Oh yeah,
real oddly. You heard me do it, right?
I've heard you do the tiny
Yeah.
toe. Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna do that on in a podcast recording, but no. If anyone's
It's good.
if anyone's trying to do a biopic for either Robert Plant or Tiny Tim, hit me up.
Jacob has got the impressions down.
That is
a fact.
I've got the vibrato pipes.
Oh yeah.
That sounded very self-glamorizing. Don't need
Pipes.
to do that. The pipes.
But it's okay. I'm here to say that it's true.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Yes, sir.
But no, I mean, I just think this movie hit. I'm gonna get into like some tidbits on the production, and any ones that I miss, you let me know.
Gotcha.
If you have any to add, let me know.
Gotcha.
People want to hear it.
All
The
right.
people are asking for more tidbits on how this production came and what was fact and what was fiction.
Exactly. That's a big one.
We got to get this out to people.
Yep.
So I'm going to start. So I'm going to start with Elvis. It's shown in the very first shot. It's blink and you miss it type thing. But I knew about this before I watched the movie. I was like, oh, there it is. That he would carry a pistol on him just to prevent death threats.
Oh, that's right.
He actually would carry a pistol in his boot.
Be on his boot. Yep.
On his boot. And it shows him on second time where the guys come up, the overcrazed fans from Peru.
Mm-hmm.
Like he actually was going to pull out his pistol, and people had to stop him because he actually carried one on him because he was getting death threats. And after everything that happened, with MLK
Mm-hmm.
and the Kennedys, and he was getting nervous, and rightfully so.
Oh yeah, rightfully so, definitely.
And then when did John Lennon get assassinated?
It was
it early or
around that
later?
time.
It was around the time. So, he was still, that probably even shook him up.
Oh yeah, because that's an entertainer,
Right.
and
That's someone of his stardom.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, let's see. Austin Butler contacted Rami Malek for advice after landing the role.
Okay.
You know who Rami Malek
friend
is?
of Elvis?
No. You know who Rami Malek is?
Mm-mm.
Well, it sounds like you don't. He played Freddie Mercury in Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, okay, so he was gonna
He was
see how to
like
mold the role.
how do I take a role of someone who existed before? How do I take this role and really respect it while really trying to do well and impersonate without it seeming like
Exactly.
So he reached out to him, which I think is pretty cool. But you and I have seen this with a movie we were just on. But Austin Butler still had a Southern accent that came out even after the role wrapped.
I seen that. Yep.
Remember when we saw that on the
Yes.
last actor
Yeah,
who
and
was
that's-
English and actually was doing an American accent that we did not realize the whole time filming?
Yeah. Exactly.
And so even at the rap party that we went to, I went up and said, "Hey, good to see you. I'll see you around, buddy." He was still talking an American accent.
Wow.
That is exactly what happened to Austin Butler.
Yeah, and he had a point. He said in an interview, whenever you embody somebody for 2 years straight, and I could only imagine that.
I can only imagine.
A lot of people were giving oh, why are you still acting like Elvis? Well, it's like this guy's been Elvis for 2 years.
Yeah, some people do that as a lifestyle.
Yeah, and it's slightly there. You can hear it.
There's almost like a cult that's out there of guys who all they do is live like Elvis.
Man, when you go to Memphis, when you go to
boy.
Graceland out there, it's so great.
See everyone.
Man, you'll there's right across the road from Elvis's house, Graceland. It's he's got nothing but he's got his airplanes that are right across the road parked. You can actually go inside.
Lisa Marie.
The Lisa Marie. You can go in. There's the Lisa Marie, and then there's a smaller jet. I don't know what it's called. They don't show it in the movie.
Huh.
But it's a smaller jet, and me and my Aunt Shirley, she'd bring me there when I was young, and want to go back again. But you go in there and you see they've got the plastic covering on everything because they don't want anybody.
They don't want any ruining it.
Yeah, and
They want to preserve it.
it's all original from when he passed. Nothing has been changed.
Yeah.
And it goes the same way for his house as well. And it's really cool. It's a really cool setup. And there's people there, man. You go in and there's a spot you could sit down, and they'll have each individual that's doing an Elvis impression,
Man.
and they're interacting with the crowd, and some
so
of them
easy
are
to do.
good, some of them are bad, but it's it's really cool setup.
That's pretty cool. No,
Yeah.
I impersonating Elvis because I was leaving the movie is like just like say you watch like a martial arts movie and like in the end you're like I know how to kill you with the art of martial arts.
That's it, yeah.
This movie left me leaving like with doing the whole thing and like, hey baby, how you doing? Just like
It lights the flame.
it does light the flame and I left. Me and my sister were doing all the hand moves and the pinky wiggle.
Oh yeah.
And then like I even went out when I left the building. I did like the whole like getting on my knee thing. Like
It's a funny thing. There's actually a picture of me whenever I was, I think 4 or 5, and I'm in front of the Graceland gates. I'm in front of it. I'm down on one knee, and this is when my aunt would have jumpsuits made when I was really young. And I'm down on one knee doing the cape.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, I gotta find that picture.
You do, please do.
There's so
please show
many.
me. Like, please try to find it and show me.
Oh yeah, I think I've had like 4 different jumpsuits. I had the gold, the all gold.
Yeah,
jumpsuit. That's whatever it is. I've got that. I've got the black. The black leather.
Yeah,
leather jumpsuit.
I want that.
The comeback
that's what
special.
I want. The comeback special suit.
Yep.
That's what I want.
That was and they're all knockoff versions, but I'm me as a little 5-year-old running around.
You were killing it. I
was killing it.
You were killing.
And then there's the Hawaiian, Hawaii,
the blue Hawaiian,
and then there's I had a red jumpsuit.
Oh really?
A red one.
Look at
and
you
that
go.
was it. And,
I love it.
And that was so fun.
This movie made me want to get a whole Elvis wardrobe. I think for Halloween I might be Elvis.
Yeah, honestly,
this coming Halloween, I think I'm gonna get. If I can't find anything better, I think I'm just gonna do it. Just go around,
Oh yeah.
I think that'll be fun.
Yeah, that's that's what I told Aunt Cheryl. I was like, I'm, I know I'm too old to be doing this, but
I think I'm gonna do
it. it makes me want to go back to the Elvis days.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Dude, there's no problem with it, dude.
Yeah.
Grown men literally think they're Elvis.
Yeah.
Some guys have like some sort of disorder where they actually believe that they are Elvis.
And that's like, that shows you just how unique he was because, once again, what other artists are there people out here imitating?
Yeah.
And I mean, you don't see, not like Elvis at least.
You don't see people walking around exactly, like living like Elton John, really. You don't see people.
If you were to, you got everybody. There's always an impersonator of any of these famous people like this. But
think about the
Elvis
Beatles.
Is number one.
People really don't walk around dressing like the Beatles.
Exactly.
Like
or Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix. You don't really see people, doing stuff like that. I mean, people like kind of go around, I guess, as the Rat Pack a little bit. We're gonna be some gangsters who also entertain us. And you get a little bit of that, but no one does it like Elvis did, and how much of a mark he left.
Just because nobody did it. Yeah. Nobody did it like him.
Exactly.
That's it.
Let's see. This is actually interesting. So Austin Butler and Elvis are distant relatives.
Are they actually? What?
I think like he's some sort of like third, fourth cousin, something removed, something like that. I just wrote down that they are distant relatives.
Wow, that is interesting.
Isn't that crazy?
That is interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
But yeah, I'm gonna tell you like who all was the slated for the role of Elvis.
Oh, okay.
And he was the perfect one. But Austin Butler wore 90 different costumes on this set. The only thing that he kept was the black leather comeback suit.
He kept that one.
He kept it.
Okay.
That's the one I would want.
Wow.
I don't know why. I was like, I want that. It looks bad.
Costumes, they did really good.
They did. Shout out to the costumes department on Elvis.
That was really good.
Everything, like I even watched like, one of his things and like, the buttons were a little different, but they was still pretty spot on.
Oh yeah, and that's what I looked at too, because I've seen, it's been years, but I've seen the jumpsuits in Graceland. It's in the garage part of the house.
You could probably see them at the Hard Rock hotels too. I feel like I've seen one.
There are some in. There is a whole room. I'm talking just lined up, and it's like a little half circle thing, and you just walk the trail and
See all of them.
all along they're all in glass cases.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and in like the middle, I think they have the gold suit, and then right beside it they have like the part of the comeback special with the white suit in the
the red tie.
the red tie.
Yeah.
Where he did "If I Can Dream."
Yeah,
That one's in there.
that's awesome.
They actually have a whole I believe it's across the street, but they have that whole set. It's like a place you can eat, and there's constant videos of Elvis rolling,
Really,
but it's only of the "If I Can Dream" performance.
that's awesome.
And it's just that one dedicated in. Then the wall has the Elvis, in red, the writing,
And
it's the exact same set.
dude, that's awesome.
You could take pictures in front of it. It's really cool.
That would be super cool to check out. I'm gonna visit because of this movie.
We're gonna go back.
How about you and I make a trip there?
We're gonna go back.
Let's do it, man.
I plan on it.
I'm down.
Oh yeah,
I'm game.
that would be fun.
Let's see. So yeah, going back to Austin Butler and Elvis being relatives. Here were the people who were slated, but then Austin, won the part. So Ansel Elgort, you know who that is? Baby Driver.
Okay,
So Baby Driver,
got you.
Miles Teller.
Yes, I know him.
Yep.
Wow.
I feel like. Well, hold on. Let me finish. You probably know what I'm gonna say, but after this, Aaron Taylor Johnson. You know who that is? He was I guess he was in like he's in Bullet Train, the new Brad Pitt movie.
Okay.
He was in oh shoot, the first Godzilla.
All right.
He was main. I think most people would really recognize him. At least I would, as Quicksilver in Age of Ultron.
Got you. Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah, I got you.
So think of him,
Yep.
and then Harry Styles.
Oh yeah, I heard Harry Styles.
So Harry Styles, who do you think out of those would be better? Be the next choice instead of Austin Butler? I'll tell you mine, and you probably know, is Miles Teller. I feel like he has more of a look.
I think it's between him and him. Man, Harry Styles. Him and Harry Styles. I would lean more towards Miles Teller.
Miles Teller for the look. Harry Styles, I feel like could have done the singing because he has a really good.
He has more. That's
he has a good singing range.
He also has the the entertaining experience. Like,
Exactly.
he knows that part of it front and back.
He's the closest thing that we have to Elvis today, I feel like.
Yeah. Well,
With the energy and the cultural impact that he brings, I feel like.
yeah,
And
he's
his blend and how he brings something
definitely not sound wise, obviously,
right,
but definitely in terms of
cultural impact.
in the way he goes about it,
Yeah.
and how he's one of those guys who interacts with his fans.
Yeah, that too.
That sort of aspect for sure.
Yeah, so I feel like he would
But
have
Miles
been
Teller,
not bad.
I agree with you on
I
that.
feel like
That's
he
who
would
I
have
would
he
lean
would have
towards.
been good. I don't know if he can sing. He
Yeah.
probably would have all been dubs.
Yeah, but Austin Butler,
Dude,
he got it, and
we're coming up on that. But yeah, there may be a 4-hour director's cut one day
oh man,
of the movie. That
I'm
would be
going to
pretty.
see that.
I'd be down. I'd sit down
yeah.
and watch that.
Oh yeah,
As long as this movie is almost pushing 3 hours. It's, I forget the
would be
runtime. It was like 2.5, pushing 3 hours long.
yeah.
But yeah, it was rumored that Lana Del Rey was gonna play Priscilla. And honestly, I think I've always thought that she looks, after seeing pictures of Priscilla Presley, I was like, I can see her. She has the same,
Definitely.
kind of, I guess you'd call that cat's eye,
Yeah.
makeup. She has the same look and the same features, as Priscilla
sure.
Presley. And I was like, okay, that would have been awesome. But
She
the
would've been a
actress,
good role.
the young lady who played Priscilla in this did amazing.
Oh yeah.
She did
She did.
perfect.
I don't know the way Priscilla really was, so
Right, that too. But I feel like she
one-
brought it to us.
yeah. And who's the daughter?
The daughter? Oh, Lisa Marie?
Lisa Marie. Lisa Marie and Priscilla, Aunt Shirley, she has actually got pictures with them. And
Really?
she personally knows them, and that just goes to another.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
It's really cool.
Um,
Pictures up in her Elvis room.
One thing I will add that I find interesting, especially with Austin Butler being distant cousins and stuff with Elvis. One actress, you've seen Mad Max Fury Road, right?
Yes, it's been a little while, but
So the same lady, she's like same girl. She's redhead. The actress's name is Riley Keough. She was, I think that's how you say her last name. There's like a GH in there. I assume it's silent, so I may have butchered her name. Never know. She's also in a movie that I really like called Logan Lucky. She's in a bunch of different films. Have you seen Logan Lucky?
I don't think so.
You should definitely check that out. Steven Soderbergh,
Oh, okay.
guy that did all the Oceans movies.
Okay.
It's like a hillbilly version of Oceans. She's in that. She's Elvis's granddaughter.
Oh.
So Elvis's granddaughter has become a really well-known actress. She's in something recently. I need to go back and look it
Wow,
up.
that's it's Priscilla's daughter.
Priscilla's daughter.
Wow.
Priscilla, Lisa Marie's daughter.
Lisa Marie, I'm
pretty
sorry.
sure.
That's right, yeah.
Lisa
That was his
Marie
only
went on
daughter.
to. Do you know that Lisa Marie went on to marry Michael Jackson?
That is right. Now that now that you
I'm
say
pretty
that.
sure. Yeah, Lisa Marie was their only daughter, right?
Yeah.
And then she went on to marry Michael Jackson.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah.
It's another iconic, figure who
Yeah.
did pretty much very similar things.
Michael Jackson was the most, I think,
Influential.
he was the most similar artist to Elvis.
Yes.
In terms of, he had his own house
Style
that had a name. To
Yeah.
it. You don't see many artists, especially today, like that.
Yeah, exactly. That had his own.
It was like Neverland or something.
Yeah, Neverland.
Something
His
like
own
that.
cult following. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Let's see. This film was shot on location in Australia.
Wow.
The whole film was shot in Australia.
Wow.
Pretty interesting, right?
That is cool.
Yeah, because Baz Luhrmann, the director, is Australian.
Gotcha.
You can hear a few.
I wonder if they did any I wonder if it was all set deck with the house and stuff.
Yeah, sound stages. Most likely was.
Wow.
They probably, I don't know. It just said the whole thing was shot in location at
They did a
Australia.
good job at
They
it.
did. I feel like maybe some of it was maybe shot the same place, like the real.
That's
maybe
what
the
I'm
real.
saying. Like if it's if they didn't, they
did a good
killer
job.
because they did identical to the house, especially, and
Right.
the property,
Right.
and how I think also how they did because you notice in the movie how Graceland grows.
Yeah.
Because when they first showed up, it was kind of more rundown.
A little more rundown.
Place.
Still pretty,
It was a beautiful place, but it was there was
It wasn't as lavish and elegant as
and they
he
remodeled
made it.
they remodeled the inside,
Right.
and it's those little details that they did that were really cool.
And they worked.
Oh, yeah.
They did. And I thought they did a good job. I've never even seen Graceland with my own eyes, but
Yeah.
pictures I've seen, they did pretty good.
Yeah. Now it's
And like actually seeing some footage of it
yeah.
last night.
Now it's there's he's got his horses, and I don't think he has cattle. He might. Don't
I
quote
feel
me
like
on
he
that.
would.
Yeah, but there is a whole farm setting to the entire place. It goes back even further behind the house with land, and it's beautiful. They've got a whole setup of horse riding, all types of stuff.
It's
out
pretty
there.
cool, man.
And then right outside of his place is where his father, and his mother, where they were laid to rest. Right outside,
okay.
right next to the guitar pool.
That's cool.
He's got
He has a guitar pool?
It's shaped like a guitar.
That is awesome.
That's what he's got.
We should go. We definitely need to
Yeah,
go check that out.
There's so many things to it, man.
Throw back to what we were talking about earlier. We definitely need to check it out. But yeah, no. The TCB, in the
Yeah.
title card, that stands for taking care of business,
Okay.
which was kind of like his little sub, which was like a mix of like
Yeah,
a
the
bunch of
lightning bolt.
professionals. Yeah, the TCB. They even say this in the film. You can kind of pick it out if you know what they're talking about. Is taking care of business.
Oh yeah.
That's the name of the like kind of little band that he did that he kind of messed around with and stuff and
His
made a
early
few
days.
things. No, kind of like after I think, just a bunch of like big people that kind of came together and
Oh, okay.
or within the music industry.
Yeah,
And
you see that.
they're
You
all
see
still
it
playing.
everywhere.
They're all still playing. With different members.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Priscilla and Elvis actually had an age gap, and here are some that I looked up in like fact and fiction of the whole thing, but they seemed more like the same age when they first meet in Germany, but they actually had more of an close to a 10-year age gap.
It was a big age gap.
It actually was. She was like 14 and he was in
Yep.
his 20s when they met.
Yep.
But Elvis and B.B. King did not interact as it was depicted.
They were cool with each other.
They were still cool with each other. They still like knew of each other and they still respected.
And-
It's not like they didn't like each other, but they weren't buddy like it seemed like.
Yeah. Definitely.
So yeah, he was not sent to the army just to change his appearance. It was not like, all right, this is what we're gonna do. But it was more like he was actually drafted.
Yeah.
And then Colonel Tom Parker actually was like, this is something we can do to actually make your appearance, give you more of an all-American boy appearance, kind of like the movie said. But it was not just to say like, look, he's not, we're going to, I guess, reform him a bit.
Yeah.
We're going to kind of do that.
Trying
we're
to do
refine him.
the new Elvis kind of thing.
Yeah. So it wasn't just for that.
Yeah.
But he was brought
And what
back.
was it from there? It was, what was it, 7 years? He was not doing any type of music or anything after the army?
I think
that's what it
I think
was.
he went back in for a little bit, just
Yeah.
kind of dipped in and out, not as much.
It was a huge break where he didn't do really anything but acting
Right, that's true.
because
He did more acting.
during the time, sad to say it, but that's just, they didn't want him to endorse the culture he was trying to endorse.
Right, exactly. But yeah, no, it's he did take more of a break for acting, and I think getting stuff kind of together for a little bit at least.
Yeah. He was being held back, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, that's like, his true talent was making music.
Right, but then the next ones I have were he didn't yell and fire at Colonel from the stage. It was more Baron Hilton, the guy who founded the Hilton hotels. And then Elvis died not knowing about everything about Tom Parker.
That's the fact.
That's the fact.
Got
So,
you.
But yeah, that's all
Cool.
from I forget her name, but I know her last name was Nash.
Okay.
She was the one that was really, she's the expert on his life and wrote
Got you.
a couple of his books and stuff.
Got you.
So yeah. So that's all like the hit pick, well not the hit picks, but tidbits on production and the fact and fiction. But I do have some categories, and then
All right.
try to wrap this up.
All right.
Going pretty long here. But yeah, no, I got some hit picks. Just something kind of like, what is something you really took away from this movie that like really kind of made your ears perk?
It was, there were many things, but just the coming away with what really went down and how things actually went for Elvis.
Mm-hmm.
And the sad truth of it, but even though it was a sad truth, it was the truth,
It was a truth that you could leave with.
and that's in it. It showed you more of, it was like, man, like you could only imagine with the right management
What he
What-
could have accomplished.
even though the things he already did accomplish with being held back and growing the name for himself like he did.
Yeah.
Like, just imagine what he could have done. That's what I really come away with, was what he,
The legacy that he left.
yes. And it's like, with him doing so little, he did so much.
Right.
And he could have done so much more with the right management.
Yeah. I mean that brings me to gives me another question that I have. Kind of one of our categories is question needing answers about the film. I didn't really have any, but I'll get to that in a second. But I will say my hit pick is basically the same, and I like how the film captured the I've been saying this word a lot, but the eccentric and the just high octane lifestyle that he lived. It showed that.
The film itself matched that with Elvis's personality.
Right.
They translated that very well.
They did, and they did a really good job with it. But yeah, so now nitpicks, anything that, you know, something that just kind of like, I guess, rubbed you the wrong way, something that you wished was more taken out.
Yeah, I don't know. It was, you know, mine would probably have been just with certain songs that they had. You know, I know they understand that they had to modernize things and do that, which was the different twist, which I wouldn't necessarily take it away, but there was a few, you know, especially in the music they had mixed in, that I wish would have just been
A few moments were like, why this song? Why, kind of like, why this?
well,
this
not why
more
this
popular-
song, but more like who chose this artist to rap on Elvis's track.
I know exactly.
In the Ghetto was
In the Ghetto
the
one.
specific one that I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
You know, like it's not even anything related. Doja Cat, they did a cool.
that one.
I
Was,
like that one. They did a really cool sound with that one.
Yeah, they did. I did like that.
And that was with that wasn't even with, you know, it was with Hound Dog,
Yeah.
but Mama Thornton's version, the original version, and that was cool how they did that and gave Mama Thornton the credit for that. But you know, In the Ghetto was the one
that really hit you.
soundtrack that I was like, oh man, you know, it's like, because the rapper, in my opinion, wasn't even
that good. I don't even know who that was. I didn't even bother. I didn't look it up.
It was not even a flow to it at all, anyways. But
yeah, I don't know. It was kind of like the same thing. It's kind of like the reason I was kind of turned away from. I guess it's also my nitpick, is basically like why I didn't care for The Great Gatsby as much as like, wow, you know, this feels like a very different tone.
A little too modernized sometimes.
Yeah, it's a completely different tone,
Yeah.
different wavelength, and it's not working for me.
No, it's not at all. You know, that's not at all the style of Elvis, anyways. But you know, I know Elvis would have appreciated it, anyways. You know, just because it was bringing back the king. You know?
Yeah, it was a way to grab people who
exactly, and that's what I think it really was. Which it was, because they attract another audience that way.
Well, that's what movies do a lot, and this one just did it in a very different, more outstanding way.
That's what I'm saying. You know, I know it's, you know, the business is business part of it, to where you have to do what you have to do to endorse it a certain way and get as many eyes as you can.
Right.
But In the Ghetto, that one was like, I don't know about it.
I started singing along to the first.
It's such a good song.
Right.
Like, you know,
I love that song.
It's a great song. I wonder if that's an original.
You know, In the Ghetto was the first Elvis song that I ever heard.
Really?
Yeah, and I heard that, I was like, In the Ghetto, what? I think being little me, I was like, this is like In the Ghetto, what? Who talks about the ghetto? And then I started listening to it, like, damn, this is a sad song.
Yeah, he's bringing light to what really goes down.
It shows it's basically about him.
Yeah, you know, he was raised in that type of environment, which at that time, most of the time, it was not like that for a white guy, especially. But his father was in prison at the time, and you know, many white kids usually had a father figure.
Yeah, and he didn't for 3 years.
Yeah, and you know, that definitely strengthened the relationship between him and his father.
Yeah, for, you know, at least a good bit.
Yeah, you know,
it made him very attached to any father figure that came along.
Exactly.
Yeah, but yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah,
now that you say that
with Colonel Tom Parker.
Colonel, yeah.
But yeah, no, I want to say this is a new. No. This category came up from my Top Gun.
All right.
I feel like I'm gonna need to redo. I did that by myself. We're gonna need to redo that one. I feel like
we
need to do Top Gun Maverick too.
Oh yeah.
But cultural impact is a new category that I just added. And one question that I had, or one thing, kind of more of a question, is: will this make more people, specifically like a younger audience, listen to his music more?
I think it would.
I think so too.
Me. You know, for me at least, it did.
Yeah, same here. I went back and listened to a lot of his music, and like I want to listen to music that is not more polarized and like more lesser known.
Yeah, like, You
I
know,
want to dig in.
For me, it did at least, and I think for many others it did as well.
Yeah.
But that was just, like I said, as soon as I seen the trailer for it, I remember exactly where I was. I was sitting in my living room. Remember my exact reaction. I was literally,
You're like, yeah.
my heart dropped. I was like, dude,
This is gonna be
and
good.
me already liking the motion picture, the biopic, me already liking that, and seeing Elvis. And I had asked it before. I talked to man Cheryl about it. I was like, years ago, I was like, man, I wonder why they don't do one on Elvis.
Yeah.
And, it was all about just doing it right.
Yeah. That's what they needed.
When the family was asked, they wanted it done right.
Yeah.
Which many people weren't able to meet their expectations in the past because they've tried stuff before and the family ended up not liking it.
Right.
And they didn't want it released that way, but this they hit it on the button.
Mm-hmm.
They did it on this one.
That they did. No, credit to Baz Luhrmann.
Exactly.
So the next category, the one we've been waiting for. No, wait. Actually, no. Questions needing answers.
Oh, yeah.
I had one. Mainly the one, I didn't really have many. It was basically kind of like what was fact, what was fiction. We already covered that. But the one that you raised is if this is sad to say this and almost would probably be a little more problematic, but it's kind of like the question is if Elvis Presley, the real life, had better management, didn't have Tom Parker, would he still be alive today? If he was not running himself so...
See, I think, if you ask me, that's one that we'll never know, but if you ask me...
That's just what I was thinking about. I was like,
yeah,
we'll never know, but there would definitely be a higher chance.
If you ask me, I think he would be.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, because...
Someone who actually cared... If he had someone who actually cared about his health and pushed him to be alive more than on stage.
Like, the guy in the... When they did the comeback special, the people that were over that,
those
Colonel
guys
was trying to get him to do all these Christmas specials and stuff like that, and that was not Elvis, you know. And I believe that, especially during the years that he lost of not being able to perform due to, I know he wanted to be an actor, but Colonel was a huge influence of that.
Yeah.
And I believe that he would have been more set free into doing exactly whatever he wanted. And that was, like he had said in the movie, going on a world tour, getting to visit these different countries. And Elvis was, because information travels to these other countries, especially during that time, a little later. But he absolutely blew up in these countries.
He did.
Blew up. Some of
those
these
guys
countries
from Peru, and that's a small country, and
huge. He blew up.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. It's like because Colonel had no passport,
he was illegal.
He couldn't, and that's the exact reason. And I agree. I think Elvis would have definitely been much more paced. Would have paced himself much more maybe
healthily. Yeah, true.
Hopefully.
If he didn't have as much control, if he didn't have the control that Tom Parker had, but also at the same time didn't have the control to where he would want to, just throw himself out on stage every night just because he wanted to, he would have to have been paced in a very healthy way, someone actually looking over his health and well-being.
Exactly. And then also I believe he would have probably spent much more time with the people he wanted to spend time with. Mm-hmm. I know he wanted to please his fans, and that was another thing that Elvis, that's you could argue that could have ran him in the ground was just the love he had for his fans too. That's another argument. But I believe he would have spent much more time with his family, his daughter, and that alone would probably have made him
healthy,
want to pace himself,
true,
and want to stick around and be around for his daughter.
Would have definitely saved his marriage too.
Yeah, and and then you don't know the exact story to it, but with the pills and the things like that, none of that came around until he
had this unhealthy lifestyle. Yeah.
Until he started going on tour. And that, you know, the doctor that they had, you know, and, you know, coming from, especially during that time, if a doctor's telling you, hey, you know, this is okay to do when it's not, which happens all the time.
Right.
You know, he's going to be like, oh, he's a doctor. He knows what he's talking about.
He didn't have that doctor. The doctor was like, I'm going to shoot him up. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You know, with whatever, and came out the doctor was, you know, overprescribing him and everything.
And there were times where his doctor did tell him, hey, you don't need to do this.
Right.
And that's when Elvis's addiction kicked in, and Elvis was so much of a runner. You know, he had his own plane and stuff. He would even, in the middle of the night, would run off to a whole nother state just to get whatever pharmaceutical drug he was looking for.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And because, you know, Elvis walks into your pharmacy.
You're going to give it to him.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
But he would do those types of things. He would literally, him and whoever the girl was of the night, they would run off, and, you know, his managers would be like, where's Elvis? And like, oh, well, he just left, and it's the middle of the night. And like, where is he? And it's because his doctor had told him no, he didn't need it. And, you know, like it showed in and where he shot the TV, you remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, he would have temper tantrums like that because
and just scares.
Because he was, you know, his psyche was really, you know, influenced by the drugs he was taking.
Right. Well, yeah, no, that's true. And I guess the main answer is we'll just never know.
You'll never know.
We'll never know, like, if he would be alive today.
But that's what
the thing is,
say.
Like, he would probably have a bigger probability, higher probability of being alive.
Exactly.
But yeah, so the next one is the one that we've been waiting for. Austin Butler's performance. So notable acting performance is the category. Austin Butler. We'll try not to stay too long because we're getting pretty high on the number scale with, you know, our duration.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, Austin Butler just dissolved into this, like, you know, in the beginning you can kind of see more Austin Butler, but you can still see we're like trying to be Elvis, but especially whenever they start doing, and then, you know, credit to the prosthetics team, like they did awesome whenever like they put a little weight on him, you know, with the makeup, and like just it was amazing.
That was really cool.
That really was, but then also like the moves that he had, the way he just moved.
Oh yes.
You know, like off stage, you know, and then the way he talked, the way he looked, you know, his
entire demeanor.
Yeah,
everything.
Exactly, his demeanor, the way, just everything.
Yeah.
He just dissolved into it and just did not really break character at all.
And the thing that I also see that's just so impressive, and it's already, I think that for an actor, that is the hardest role you can get, especially doing it for how long he did. And that's a whole nother level of acting, is whenever you're trying to literally be somebody else. Like that's talent. Not something that not all actors can do.
I agree with you, actually.
Yeah. That's something that, you know, that's the award-winning type of stuff right there, is when that happens, because not all actors can do that.
Yeah.
And then, let alone him being able to do 3 different types of Elvis.
Yeah, that too.
That was the main one, is young Elvis. Then, you know, you got your 60s Elvis.
Yeah.
During that time. And then you've got your jumpsuit Elvis.
70s.
The 70s Elvis, which were all 3 different styles.
And it's like, you know, because I forget like how old Austin Butler actually is. He's like 28, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
Around that age. But he was able to play a almost 40-year-old who just, you know, and then almost like, you know, because Elvis Presley really didn't, sad to say, he didn't look like he was in his 40s. He looked,
oh yeah,
he was so in bad health that he looked like he was in his 50s or 60s.
But
even.
The thing is, him when he was younger, even like that show, just, you know, when he was younger, he looked much like when he was 18, for example.
Yeah,
the dude looked like he was
in his 20s,
30-year-old man, like a 25 to 30-year-old man.
Yeah,
and he was such a you know, a great looking guy.
Mm-hmm.
No homo. great looking guy that you never even you would he was Elvis.
Yeah, exactly.
And then him going to being so unhealthy, he looks like that. That's just a very sad part.
Right. No, but Austin Butler he brought that.
He brought it.
And he did amazing. And like I said, he dissolved into the character. He brought it out. He gave us something to say. So that's who Elvis was.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, I mean, I don't want to spend too much time on Austin Butler, but in the end, he did phenomenal.
He was the glue.
He was the glue. He was the one that brought Elvis to us, and he studied him. He, like you said, he was him for almost 2 years.
Yes.
And he was perfect. He was Elvis's distant relative.
Yeah.
I don't think he could have been better.
Yeah, and for him to satisfy the family, especially that
too.
That was probably for him the biggest, these are some big shoes to fill here, because you've got Elvis's family right here in front of you, and you're trying to...
That's what seals the deal, is the fact that Elvis's own family was and we thought, that was, our husband, our
could you imagine
our father
being Priscilla and being on set and seeing this guy, and you're just
approving of him,
and you're just in awe. You're like, whoa! I could only imagine if it was a relative of mine that's deceased, and
they embody them.
And it's like, whoa!
Right.
I could only imagine that.
And they actually embody them, which is insane. The fact that he was able to do that, but also like I said before, I have some mixed things about Tom Hanks's Tom Parker. I don't think it's Tom Hanks' fault because I think he did the voice after hearing some stuff, hearing Tom Parker speak, but I guess he just feels like a campy person. He felt very campy. I guess he was trying to do a Southern accent, or trying to lose his own accent from the Swedish accent, and
it was something strange.
Or Dutch, Swedish or Dutch.
It was something. The accent he was trying
one of the
to do
two.
It was something strange, but that was Colonel.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people hated on his portrayal of Tom Parker. Yeah. I actually liked it. He didn't feel like he was cheap, like a cheap character.
Yeah.
He actually you could see the greed in his eyes.
Oh yeah.
And I appreciated the effort that he put in for Tom Parker.
Oh yeah.
And I think he did great, honestly.
I think he did. Because I'd watched some footage on him as well.
Right.
The real Tom Parker, and I think he pretty much matched him.
Yeah. And like we mentioned before, just the accent just felt off. But honestly, he got it. Just something about it felt off. It just felt like it didn't belong.
The accent that he used, which was Tom Parker's himself was just off.
Right.
So that's kind of
what I was saying earlier.
The off role, but he did it right.
It worked.
I think he did.
I liked it.
Yeah.
But no, he did good. People have hated on his accent. I don't get why.
Yeah.
But I liked it. But yeah, everyone else, Priscilla, for some reason I forgot to write down the actress's name. She did great as Priscilla.
Yes.
She looked like her. I feel like Lana Del Rey may have looked a little more like her.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. So after that, there was a bunch of good quotes in this. The category is favorite quotes. I feel like what you and I were quoting is like, this got everything to do with us.
Yeah.
Just like, like you just want to quote those as Elvis.
Exactly.
And then the way that Austin Butler brought it.
Oh yeah.
What you talking about? This got everything to do with us.
That's right.
Like, I want to go big. I want to become an actor, just like Jimmy Dean.
Yeah.
He has this whole thing. Just you like quoting it.
Yeah. I do it all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Same here. I was doing that when I left, and I was talking to my sister, like, just say famous, like, hello, baby.
Oh yeah.
Like, thank you very much. Just
salute, Ernie.
Because he really didn't say thank you very, the thank you very much.
Yeah.
He just said thank you.
Yeah.
Just did the little thing. But yeah, that, and then so after that is cinematography, which it was just the iconic, kind of Baz Luhrmann feel, and they captured it just right. And I liked the cinematography.
Oh yes,
You know,
it was great.
it was very well done, very well executed. All the shots were beautiful
Oh yeah,
as a movie, and the scenery was
and
amazing.
then the introduction to it with, it's showing all the, I don't know, the paisley,
Yeah,
the beginning to where it's literally showing the
kind of
the
bedazzled.
diamonds and the bedazzles. It did a
It
great
did.
job of that.
Kind of had like an almost heavily CGI'd feel, and I really liked it.
Yes.
Kind of like, I don't know. I guess it just didn't work for me, and or I wasn't prepared for it. Like we had mentioned in The Great Gatsby, but in this it worked. I liked it.
Yes,
It felt
did.
weird.
It matched.
But at the same time, I was like, okay, it's a story being told,
Yes.
which lets me know I need to go back and rewatch The Great Gatsby.
Yes.
Maybe I'll have a different tone, outlook on it.
Exactly.
But the score and the soundtrack, we've talked a lot about how it was modernized,
Yes.
but they still used the classics.
They did.
And what I did like about the score is that a lot of it was kind of like a melancholic version of shoot, I can't even think of the most popular, Only Fools Rush In, Can't Help But Falling in Love with You.
Yes, that's it.
It used a lot of that, but kind of done in like with a piano and just kind of as like a little background. But you can, if you pay attention, like, hey, I Can't Help But Falling in Love with You,
Yeah.
but as just a little bit of a score. But they didn't play that song really, other than
They
it
didn't.
being,
Yeah, now that
which
think
I
about it.
appreciate.
Yeah.
They did a remake of it at one
He
point.
showed all his other great hits.
Yeah, it showed up
That
the other ones. It didn't really focus too much on I
Yeah,
Can't
'cause
Help But
that's-
Falling.
That's like the classic, Elvis. Everybody knows that one, but then the others that many others know as well
Right.
were also put
It's
on
just the
tape.
over popular one.
Yes.
And I appreciate the fact that they didn't overplay it in this one.
Yes.
Just like, oh, we're just going to play the one song that everyone knows by Elvis over and over.
Definitely.
So, yeah, so I appreciated
The
that.
Suspicious Minds. That was
So
one.
that was good.
That was
I
a
liked
good one.
that one.
I love the intro with that.
But then just everything else that they did with it was awesome.
Oh yeah, it
Um,
was great.
sometimes I have like, some categories, and if I don't put anything down, I just won't do them. But do you have any story rewrites or inserts that you would add? Something you would like to see a little more of?
Man, I don't know. I wouldn't really think.
I wouldn't know what I would want to see from it. I can't think of anything, and I think everything was perfectly captured. It was like his life from start to finish.
Exactly.
Like they kind of input his
as a young man.
Well, even when he was born, they have like his brother Gary.
Oh, yes, that's right. His twin Jesse, twin brother Jesse.
Yeah, who was born and died in the womb, I think.
Yeah.
And
Elvis actually during his Hollywood days had made a movie, and it's what do they call that, double screening or something when they do the same people?
Yeah.
Well, it was his twin
him
brother.
playing his twin brother.
Yeah, him playing his twin brother, which they had Elvis with the blonde hair.
So it's like as if he wished he was still alive.
Yeah,
he wished he actually lived.
Yes, and then there's obviously Elvis is in it.
Right.
And it may have
Love
been different, they may not just said it was Elvis, but he had played in some movie like that where they did double.
That's I like that. That's awesome. I have to check out his old
Elvis has done a lot of movies.
He has. He's done a lot.
And at the time were actually very big movies.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of them are so cheesy that they're good now,
Yeah,
I need to check that out for
very
myself.
cheesy, but at the time it was like, this is Elvis doing the movie and everybody loved it.
Right.
They are very cheesy though.
I need to check them out for myself. But yeah, and the last category I have is recasting. I would have been interested to see how Lana Del Rey would have played Priscilla.
Yeah.
That would have been interesting. She may have.
She's got the look.
She has the look. She may have not done it.
Yeah.
But how would she have done?
Exactly.
I'm that's curious.
Yeah.
I think the girl, the young lady that did it, actually did good.
Yes.
I really appreciated the way she brought Priscilla to the screen as well. She's playing a woman who is still alive, and she was able to do that.
Yeah.
She didn't. I haven't heard anything of how if she offended the real Priscilla, which that's always
her getting to actually meet this woman.
right. That's same as Austin Butler.
Yeah, unlike Austin Butler's role being Elvis,
He wouldn't want to offend Elvis, but he wouldn't have wanted to taint the legacy and how his Elvis's own family saw him.
Exactly.
So no, I thought she did great, but it would have been interesting.
She did do great, yes.
I don't know if anyone would have been able to play Tom Parker any better.
Oh yeah, I think Tom Hanks landed that one.
Yeah, he did.
That was it.
He did. As much hate as he gets, I feel like, I've heard some other podcasts where they didn't really care for Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
They didn't care for him as I think he did great after listening and seeing stuff of Tom Parker and the look he had it, you could still recognize Tom Hanks, but you just love Tom Hanks with whatever he does because he puts so much effort and respect into it. And hearing him talk about what he did as a character and how he thought about the real Tom Parker is like how much he actually hated the real character. Yeah. He was like, I want to make this man despicable.
Exactly.
I want to bring that to the screen. And I think he did perfect.
He did.
Man, I keep voice cracking. This means we're gonna have to wrap it up soon. But no, that is the last category. There was one guy who was in there. That's a good idea. Maybe I won't voice crack as much for the end of the show.
I've been trying to kind of keep him down, but
it almost sounds like I got a little worse.
Yeah.
So we'll see. So, but no, there was one guy who you can tell was just maybe a local actor. Was trying to do a Southern accent, but you're like, okay, knowing that this is all shot in Australia, I can definitely hear the Australian in this guy. He was like...
Wait, which one was this?
He was, I think, the senator who was really saying that they need a new Elvis.
Oh,
you can hear him. He was doing he had an Australian accent.
Got you.
Trying
I gotta go back and watch that.
Trying the bare minimal to do a Southern accent, I hate hating on people, but that guy could have been a little better.
Yeah.
But no, so, dude, that's it. Do you have any closing thoughts for the movie? And
I mean, it was great.
It was great. Do you feel like it left a good legacy? It captured the legacy of Elvis perfectly.
Yes, like I said, it was iconic.
Yeah, it is iconic.
And he, Austin Butler had big shoes to fill, and he came through, man.
He filled them. I personally feel like he did.
He did.
Well, dude, no, I mean, it's been a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Doing this episode with you, and like I said before, it's gonna be the first of many with you.
That's it, and I appreciate you having me, brother.
Absolutely, man.
Sure.
So everyone, please get familiar with Caden Cooley's face. This beautiful man right here.
Thank you, sir.
You surpass Elvis.
I don't know about that.
Like you said, no homo. But no, I mean, you can all check out our latest episodes. We have a little more on Spotify, Apple Podcasts than our YouTube, which we also have a YouTube channel for video. I have this big set deck, that I worked pretty hard on for it to be on video. And then
great setup.
Hoping Gabe, who you'll get to meet, will come back, who started the podcast with me. He took a break for Marines, and hopefully coming soon.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, trying to figure out what the next movie will be. I know I mentioned a few episodes ago, I think, that I'm wanting to do Interview with a Vampire, because I worked on a show that was may or may not have been related to that.
Yeah.
And so I started watching it. It's interesting. But, I'm trying to think of something else to do. It'll come.
Projects will come your way.
I want to do a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Oh, okay.
I want to do a Quentin Tarantino movie. Maybe like one of the first few that I saw. Not sure. But we will see. And then follow our Instagram. Also email us for whichever Quentin Tarantino movie you would want us to do. Or just any movie in general that you would like us to do. You can email us at mailbag@bowtiemovielounge.com. But no, seriously, we appreciate you watching or listening. Please follow us. Keep tabs on us. And email us. And we hope to see you next time. at the Bowtie Movie Lounge. So we have left the building.
We have left the building.
Oh, yeah. Adios.